Hey guys, Arnold here coming at you from the NAMM 2021, Summer NAMM I should say, here at Music City Center in Nashville, Tennessee. This has been an extremely interesting show. By extremely interesting, I mean that right from the word go, just running through a gamut of emotions, thoughts, opinions about the show itself, about everything that's gone on, everything that's been happening, and just kind of all the circumstances around it. This has just been a little nuts, a little crazy to kind of go over this with you from my perspective. Like when I first walked into the convention center yesterday, first thing I noticed is, okay, it's covering a smaller area than the previous Summer NAMM I had been to back in 2019. This one was one less convention center hall. Like, for those of you guys that are unfamiliar with Music City Center, as far as I can tell, there's 4 convention halls. There's A, B, C, and D. And the previous year, it was the B, C, and D halls, and plus some rooms that were on the outside, and maybe some upstairs, I don't know. This year was just the B and C halls, not the D hall. The rooms outside were not occupied at all. Significantly less booths. Like, I hashtagged it in one of my Instagram posts as incidental social distancing, because probably not something that was necessarily planned. It just kind of happened that way, that there was honestly hardly anyone here displaying merchandise, hardly anyone here in attendance. So it's been kind of the thing where there's been a little bit more minimal interaction with folks and a little bit more minimal, honestly, just everything. This whole show has just been minimal. That's really the best way to describe it. And that's for better or for worse. Obviously, I would love it if there was more product here to check out. Like, a joke that I made to a buddy of mine is, hey, think of a guitar company. They're not here. Think of a bass company. They're not here. Think of an amplifier company. They are not here. About the only sort of thing that was of any interest to me that actually came out in a little bit more force, there was a little bit more of the boutique pedal group that came out than I was expecting. And some interesting stuff was to be found in those booths. So I've got no complaints as far as that goes. The stuff that I did get a chance to check out, I will say this: every single product that I had a chance to get my hands on, to play through and to run through some paces, was exceptional. So whether it be the AMT electronic stuff from Russia, I've been kind of casually following that brand for seemingly eons on social media, and I've always been curious about it. Those were exceptional. Way exceeded my expectations. Got to check out some cool pedals from like PCP pedals. Those were great. A few other things too, you know, rev amps. Okay, rev amps, I've always been friendly with those guys in the past, but this is really the first experience at a convention, at a NAMM show, where I got to plug into those rev amps, hear them through a cabinet instead of just on headphones, and I was thoroughly impressed by them. To the point where now I kind of want to get some more on the channel and demo them for you guys to see what we can do in our studio setting. Gullet Guitars was extremely impressive. I loved their sort of modern take on vintage stylings. Yes, you can take a look at their stuff and realize, hey, it's inspired by Gibson stuff, it's inspired by Fender stuff, but it is far from being a copy. And that makes that stuff super awesome. It feels familiar and refreshing all at the same time. But I mean, it's the kind of thing where, like, when Reverend Guitars has the biggest booth at the show, that's how you know things are a little weird. And I'm not saying that Reverend Guitars are bad at all, far from it. They're actually really fucking great instruments. What I'm saying is, it's always a little weird to be coming into a music industry show and Gibson's not here. Not really. Fender Musical Instrument Corporation is not here. Marshall is not here. All these great amplifier, bass, and guitar companies are just not here. Now, one thing that kind of saved me early on is I had a few people come up to me early on yesterday. The discussions that I had with them kind of reset my tone for the whole convention. Like, at first I was really sad that there was hardly anything here, and there was hardly any people here. I was like, oh God, what does this mean for NAMM? What does this mean for this convention going forward? What does it mean for the music industry going forward, or the music equipment industry going forward for that matter? Honestly, this might be a great thing, scaling everything back and getting to the heart of why these conventions exist in the first place, getting to do the industry side. As a result, it kind of reset what I was sort of holding in importance for this convention. So I was able to meet a lot of really, really cool people who I'd never met before. Folks like Kyle Bull, truck driver Sean, Greg Campbell, it was great to see him again, Trey from Gear Gods, Mary Sweeney and Ty, and just kind of all these people that, you know, either I have never met before or I've met in kind of passing before. And it was great to kind of connect and reconnect, but also it was great to have actual meaningful conversations on the NAMM floor about the industry, about the gear, about music in general, or about life in general. It was fantastic. It was, not to sound cliche, but it was one of those great instances where it's not the destination, it's the friends you make along the way. And I mean that sincerely. It was great to meet all these wonderful folks here at this show and make these bonds, not just with the assorted people that were covering it, but also the people that were running these booths, getting to talk with the folks at all these guitar and pedal and amp companies and getting to see what's sort of making them tick a little bit. It was great. It was fantastic. And I feel like I made some great new friendships here. I feel like I made some great sort of new, maybe professional relationships, networking with some of these folks, and I look forward to working with them in the future. It's been a little bit more difficult to do that at NAMM shows previously. So, like I said, a little bit more meaningful conversations. I welcome that. I think that was awesome. You know, and how awesome is it that at a NAMM show, you're able to talk to somebody at a sort of reasonable distance at a reasonable volume, and you can totally make out what they are saying, and they can totally make out what you are saying. You don't have to yell at the top of your lungs just to be heard and blow out your voice on the first day of a 4-day show. That was awesome. That was a great part about this show, is being able to sort of go into it with a more casual atmosphere. Now, what does this mean for NAMM shows going forward? I think that there's definitely going to be some people that take a look at this and are going to see this NAMM show as a failure. And I think this NAMM show was exactly what NAMM needed to do. It needed to scale things back a little bit and make certain things more important, which is just kind of an incidental thing that ended up happening. Now, we all know the reason why this has been the case, why there wasn't a summer NAMM show last year, why there wasn't a winter NAMM show this year. It's because of COVID-19 and the various restrictions surrounding them. You know, a lot of restrictions have lifted, things are a lot more casual, a lot more, in some instances, a lot more cavalier, but just people are a little bit more excited to get out and about and do shit and actually experience life again. And that's why I think this was kind of an important first step for NAMM. I think that the winter NAMM show, one of two things is going to happen, and I'm absolutely all for either one that happens. Either, number one, people are going to see that this show happened, because that was one of the things that someone sort of had a little bit of conjecture about, like, I'll bet you the reason why this show didn't have such a strong turnout of vendors and attendees was because of the uncertainty. A lot of people didn't know this show was going to happen until, honestly, not too long ago. Like maybe, what was it, a couple months ago, something like that? Someone Google it, I don't remember. But I feel like it's something where people see that this show actually took place. We got to get out here and do the things that we needed to do at one of these trade shows. And as a result, they're going to see that as a success, and they're going to come out in droves in January. It's going to be back to the 100 to 115,000 attendees like it is every single year. It's going to be back to the NAMM Zoo that we know and love, for better or for worse. And all of a sudden, we're going to get a lot more hopping and bopping industry coverage and a lot more new products and a lot more interaction all over again. Or the second thing that could potentially happen is, yes, Winter NAMM's going to happen. It's obviously going to be a lot bigger, a lot more filled, a lot more products, a lot more attendees, a lot more everything, a lot more stars, a lot more media coverage at the Winter NAMM show, but not to the extent it has been in years previous. We're going to have a little bit more space, we're going to have a little bit more room to breathe and to walk and to actually get shit done again. And even that, I'm still 100% all for it. But I do not see this Summer NAMM show as a failure. I see this as a necessary step backward that needed to happen following the pandemic, following all the circumstances that have led up to this moment. And now, as a result, we've had a show, we've had some coverage, we've had some fun. It's kind of a step back into normalcy. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you to everyone who I met, who I made friends with, who maybe I reconnected with here at the Summer NAMM show. You were all fucking awesome. And if you don't know how awesome you are, it bears repeating. You are all fucking awesome, and I very, very much appreciated the time that you guys took out of your day to spend with me, to spend talking with me, conversing. You guys have no idea how much I needed this and how much I needed the interaction with you. I appreciate you so much. So with that, please like this video, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Please go out there and subscribe to all the folks that are covering this on Instagram, that covered this in magazines, that covered this on their YouTube channels, on TikToks, on Twitch, fucking whatever. Subscribe, show some love, because any sort of support, any sort of interaction that you can give those folks, it's going to help bring back the buzz, bring back the hype for the NAMM show, only to make this even better by the time January comes around. So with that, guys, please remember, whatever you do, take what you do seriously, but do not take yourselves too seriously.